Let's start
the Topical Pursuit Podcast.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Topical Pursuit Podcast. I'm your host, Drew, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Mrs. M.
Hi.
Hello, Mrs. M. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm excited. We've got some guests on for a change.
Woo!
It's not just us. For any of the listeners that don't have to worry about our dulcet tones for one more episode.
Yep. Not
Yep.
us. Not just us.
Not
Part's
just
going
us.
to barely be me, to be honest. I'll barely say a word.
So anyway, yes, as you heard that, we have some guests on, and without any further ado, essentially, we'll introduce them. So it is a Mr. Stuart White, the founder of Right Mentor, and his co-pilot, Florianne Humphreys. How are you?
Humphrey, yeah. I'm good.
Welcome to the podcast. How are you both?
Lovely. Thank you
Nice
for
to-
having us. It's really exciting.
You're very
Yeah,
welcome.
Nice to be on again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Nice to be
been-
guests after launching our podcast. It's really fun.
Well, you know, that was it. I mean, we've been wanting guests on for ages, and we previously did have Stuart on, and it was great, a great reception. So it just felt natural this would be the next step, but even better so that, yes, yourselves, you have launched your own podcast. So this is a podcast about a podcast, essentially.
Meta
but-
podcasting.
Yeah, this is it. Well, this is how they do it in the business. Everyone just bounces off each other. But so, I mean, we should probably just jump into that, essentially. So it's the Right Cast, Between the Pages podcast. It's just started last week. If you haven't found it, you get that through all the various channels on Twitter or anything that Right Mentor's associated with. You also find it on any good podcasting platform, essentially, wherever you get podcasts. So you should probably jump into that. Either one of you just gives a wee sort of rundown of what it's all about.
Stuart, do you want to introduce it? It's your brainchild. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we wanted to do was to look a little bit more deeply at the process of writing, because you see a lot of interviews, both YouTube, blog, podcast, where authors get interviewed about the book that they've written, and they talk a lot about that. But we wanted to start something where we looked a lot deeper at the process and the various stages involved, because as you know, Drew, when you're writing a book, it is rarely straightforward or easy at times, and we wanted to sort of, yeah, and we wanted to dive into those sort of not so much darker moments, because there's a lot of enthusiasm and energy and light in writing a book as well. But we wanted to look beyond just what is finally published and printed, and to look at the various aspects that go into the publication of a book, and also, you know, a writing journey, because it's a long and arduous career to get into, and even those who have been doing it for a long time still struggle, even, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 books in. And so the concept around the podcast is to, I guess, try and relate to those who we look up to as published authors and who have been in the business for a while, but to look at how they have the same everyday struggles as the rest of us, and sort of, you know, humanize the whole process a bit more, and rather than, you know, them just retaining this like godlike status that they have when they produce this really polished, perfect published book.
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially that is it. I mean, when you see the book on the shelves, that's the cake. You didn't see the cracking of the eggs, the mixing it up. You didn't see the bake. You didn't see the love and the hard work it went into it. And then when asked about it, and I do know what you mean, I've watched plenty of interviews with writers, and even when they're asked about it, they're either far too modest or they simply, it's too traumatic to talk about. But
Yeah.
they sort of brush over it, go, oh yeah, the idea just came to me. I was in the shower, I was going a jog, and I worked on it, and the slog, and but it's so underdone. It's just not reality. It's essentially you're seeing, like, it really is, like, I like the whole, like, between the pages, because it is like you don't see the blank page, the go make a cup of tea, then the cup of tea runs cold, or I'll write 5 pages, then I'll go and get a muffin. You go, no, you go and get the muffin to write the 5 pages, and before you know it,
Yeah.
or even the big breaks, I think, between writing, like maybe it's 6 months in between, you don't see any of that. You just see the finished product, just the shelf, and that's essentially it. But Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's pretty good then. So if you've got a few wee things lined up for it, if you've got some right mentor people coming on, hopefully. I know you don't want to say too much.
Yeah, we're planning our guests and using lots of spreadsheets, which is Stuart's favourite way of organising Right Mentor. So yeah, we've got a spreadsheet for the podcast, and yeah, it's looking exciting. So
good. No, I think it's definitely, without a doubt. I mean, there's always two podcasts of places, and without a doubt, I would say that definitely is. It's something. It's like the sort of final piece of the puzzle, essentially, because the Twitter chats are great. In the contact, all the other sort of mediums, but I would say definitely that's something where people can listen to it in their free time, and then that's it. It's not like having to sit down on like a Tuesday night and watch the chat online or something. It's you can do it at your own pace, and I think it will be highly relatable. Anything to say on that, Mrs. M? You're quite happy with that?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I should point out Mrs. M is quite new to the whole sort of Right Mentor side of things. I have been briefing her, listened to the
Honestly,
podcast.
I've not got a clue. Feel free to just explain it so much in detail to me.
Don't worry, we won't quiz you on Right Mentor. That's
all right. We'll quiz you later.
Yeah.
So, I mean, going into that then, I suppose, Florianne, so you're obviously not new, but it's, I suppose, like, I think everyone's quite aware of Stuart's work ethic. He always appears to be on Twitter or email at the end of a line of technology at any moment in given time. So it was to see, how do you work as a team together? Would you say it's pretty straightforward, hand in hand, or would you say you just get on very well, or would you say frustrate the life out of you?
It's a good question. Stuart's there waiting for my answer. No, it's fine.
I see him texting in the corner.
Like, don't you dare say anything. No, in all honesty, it is a really, I think we work really well as a team, I think. And yeah, I think we balance each other out, and both in terms of our skills, but also in terms of, I guess we both have a similar work ethic. I think Stuart definitely is would work forever, every hour of every day on Right Mentor, which obviously I don't necessarily do, because it's not my baby as much as it is Stuart's. But yeah, I think we both have the drive to make Right Mentor successful. But yeah, we balance each other out well. I mean, we talk a lot on Twitter all the time. And the great thing about Stuart is he is always on Twitter. So if I have a question, I message him, and 30 seconds later he replies, and I'm like, what are you doing, Stuart? Where are your children? No, I'm joking. He is obviously also a lovely parent, but it is brilliant because he's always on hand to answer questions that I have, which has made the whole transition into Right Mentor and like learning about everything, and it's such a huge, in terms of people, it's not a big organization, but there's so much to do in terms of different components of it, like the chat, the courses, the conference, the workshops. We also had the face-to-face workshops when I initially started, which obviously didn't work out as well due to coronavirus. But yeah, there's just so many components, but it's been really good to have Stuart on hand to help me, and just to be there at the end of Twitter to get back to me. But yeah, I think we work well as a team, don't we, Stuart? I hope.
Well, same question to you, Stuart.
I think I'm coming across as a bit of a Twitter addict here.
Oh no, yeah, no, he's not. He's not. I promise.
Well, I think recently you were banned, actually. Were you not?
Yeah, he was banned.
Why did you get banned?
I made a comment about a certain millionaire tech guru having inserted a microchip into me after my vaccine, as a joke, of course. But Twitter, I think Twitter just bans you if you try and spread any
fake news.
Potentially, yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, it was very clearly a joke, but anyway, I was off for 12 hours, and yeah,
and during Pitmad as well, the worst time.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, Twitter pitching contest.
Yeah. But no, I think Florianne nailed it when she said that I think our strengths complement each other in terms of she's very creative and artistic, and has lots of really clever ideas about how to to manage things, like both from a, you know, like a finance point of view, but also just from a, you know, how to connect with people point of view. I remember one of the first things she said to me when she started with Right Mentor was about, we've got to always just think about what people want first. So what are people looking for? And that's got to be at the forefront of everything we do. So when we're organising things, think about them first and what their wants and needs are. And then we can do the organisational stuff around that, rather than sort of organising it on our own basis, and maybe not necessarily, you know, meeting the needs of unagented writers who are looking for opportunities and ways to develop their writing. So yeah, I think we do complement each other quite well. I'm quite difficult sometimes because I don't really switch off. I'm very stubborn, and I have a very all or nothing mentality. So, you know, I'm very much like, I will either put everything into something or I'll not think about it at all. And as I say, I think Florianne's brought a bit more of a sort of balance to that for, you know, for both me, but also the organisation as a whole as well. So I do think, yeah, I think it's been a good relationship so far, and we always chat about, you know, long-term stuff, where, you know, where Right Mentor's going and so on, which is nice to hear, because obviously she's committed to it beyond, you know, just helping out for the short term. So yeah, but we've got lots of exciting things in the pipeline.
But also, I just want to say as well on Stuart's, I felt like I didn't compliment you enough when I was talking about you. Were so nice about me. No,
this is some of his speeches at a wedding going, I just like to say.
Like, oh, I feel really bad now. No. The other thing I didn't really get to add about the working relationship between me and Stuart is that it has helped that Stuart's commitment and his drive to Right Mentor has motivated me. Because I think I as an employee, I'm a freelancer, so I have worked and do work for other companies, but definitely sometimes with past companies, that sort of disconnect between you and what you're working for and the products you're creating, or, you know, the stuff you're editing or the courses you're running. Yeah, I've had quite a lot of that disconnection, but I feel like with Right Mentor, I can see Stuart's passion and I can see people's passion for Right Mentor, and that has really helped me also be passionate about it and want to work for Right Mentor and be enthusiastic and to do kind of the best I can to make it work. So I think, yeah, that passion is really good, as someone who works for Right Mentor, definitely. So thank you, Stuart. And I'll leave it at that. No more overly sweet compliments, but yeah, it's been really nice to work with him. So
that's good.
Oh, you've got to do better than that, Stuart. Do you want to come back in?
Yeah, go on. We'll just spend the rest of the time like going backwards and forwards with each other.
Yeah, let's talk about the important stuff, which is
we'll move on.
Yeah,
no problem. So, well, I mean, moving on. So, I mean, you touched on that you are hoping to do with the conference some face-to-face workshops, and then obviously the world changed forever. Hopefully not for much longer, but it did change. So, I mean, just going back, we spoke about the conference prior in the earlier interview, but now it's happened, I suppose. So, what would we sort of say the legacy has been from that conference there? Because we spoke just before we came onto the podcast there, and how that a lot of these conferences are tailored for in person, and they try and have a little bit of online. And this year in particular, we've seen them sort of, maybe it's not scramble, but they've certainly had to get a package together quickly to try and give people kind of bang for the buck and attract people. Whereas that's always been Right Mentor's strength. Initially, it has always been an access for all, breaking down barriers kind of conference. So going forward to this year, will we see more of the same? Will it be ramped up, if it can possibly be ramped up? And just with the legacy last year, do you think that's how it worked so well, just because of the way the world was, and or because it does have this sort of unlimited access? There's, you know, anyone can come at any time. Either of you.
Yeah, I mean, the initial reason for setting it up was because I've got a couple of friends with disabilities who, one of whom who's housebound, and they just can't attend these conferences. Even ourselves, being in Scotland, a lot of the conferences are down south, so it's difficult for for the majority of people to get to them. So yeah, the initial premise was about increasing that accessibility for those who can't travel, and for those as well who, you know, the cost is prohibitive to go to a conference where, you know, it's maybe £200-300 for a ticket plus your travel, accommodation, etc. You know, it really mounts up.
It's only a small holiday, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas with you know, with WowCon, you know, in the first year we and last year too, we charged just £10 for the ticket, and then obviously there was, you know, depending on how much the person wanted to do, there was obviously add-ons to that. But you know, overall, the majority of people were spending £20 or £30 on it, and they didn't need to leave the house. Which is huge. You know, that's the main incentive, is to increase accessibility from that point of view. So I'm hoping that's the legacy that the conference has. Is I don't like using the word legacy because it's only 2 years old, but that, you know, that was the word you used.
Yeah. But, legacies have to start somewhere, you know.
But yeah, and I agree with you. I think a lot of people, their hand was forced last year into doing it. And that's a good thing overall in terms of accessibility and for those in, you know, disabled community. But I worry that that will not be maintained by a lot of organisations going forward when they can return to it. And I'm hopeful that people know they can rely on us to continue to do that, and to, you know, to always be there every year and provide something which everyone can go to.
Well, you see, that is it. It's kind of like I sort of view it as a double win, because, like you say, the other ones have had to adapt and change. And in many ways, you're almost doing the blueprint of, hello, we're Right Mentor. This is how you do an online conference. And that's kind of the way it was. So you would hope a lot of them will look at that and go, well, let's just copy this guy, or let's take what they're doing and let's improve it, which is absolutely fine, because that can only lead to more accessibility to, like you say, there's many writing conferences I would love to go to, but we would need, and many people, especially up here in Scotland, would love to go to, especially on through the Twitter. But we'd have to get a minibus and travel down. You know, it's crazy.
Megabus from Glasgow.
Yeah, it would have to be that. Can you imagine that? I go, here come the Scots. But yeah, I mean, I hope that some of these places do offer that in future. They don't just go back to their old ways. But at the same time, I'm also like, see, if they do, that's fine, because that'll just send more people your way, essentially, because you're just going to improve on this every year. And it'll make it bigger and better. And you know, it was so strange, because I was thinking, how can you make something like that big but not in person? Do you know, when you walk into somewhere like the SCCC, an exhibition centre, you get the kind of general buzz, the feel of the place. Everyone's there for a reason. It's like going to the theatre or the cinemas. You think, how can you create that at home, a bit of atmosphere? And you know, Twitter done it. People were, you didn't even have to have the timetable, because people were like, just about to do my workshop with blah, 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 just about to do this. You felt as if, even if you just got the basic ticket, which in itself let you into an absolute plethora of stuff, it was unbelievable. Like, that in itself was value for money. But you could see people going into workshops going, oh, I want to go into that. You know, you could spend the whole weekend just doing workshops, and that was the kind of feel. It's got this kind of rolling quality to it. And then you can still access the videos after as well, which I thought was great, because even myself, I planned to sit down that whole Saturday, and something happened that weekend, didn't it?
Something always
happens. Couldn't do it, but I spent the following week catching up. So you don't even miss out. You know, how many people have went to a conference, paid their money, and then life gets in the way, and it's irrepeatable, really. Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's good to know that, you know, there's plans afoot to carry on, and hopefully bigger and better.
Yeah, we just actually had a meeting this week about this year's conference, and yeah, we've got some changes, I think, this year to hopefully again improve the accessibility of the whole conference for people, because one of the problems we had when we, you know, in the first 2 years is we maybe hadn't planned for so many people to be interested, and so sometimes we're left a bit short in terms of everything that we could offer to people. So we're hoping the new way that we set things up this year will allow for that, and then essentially anyone who signs up at any time can still get full access to everything. So, you know, the planning is afoot.
It is. Had our planning meeting, number one.
One of many.
One of many. No, it does, and it does it really exciting. I think the other thing about WowCon that again, me coming at it from a more of an outsider's point of view than Stuart, obviously, because I saw WowCon as a non-Right Mentor employee as well as a Right Mentor employee. I think the great thing about WowCon is, again, I suppose this is a strength of Right Mentor being an online organization, is I think it does really mimic face-to-face ones as much as possible, because I went to Winchester Writing Festival a couple of years ago, and again, that has like a variety of panels and talks and workshops. But sometimes when these conferences go online, they just resort to sort of, which is fine and it's good and it's what they can manage in the short amount of time and money they have, because no one expected coronavirus, but it is normally just workshops. Whereas I think WowCon's amazing because you've got this variety of ways to access it that you would get with a face-to-face conference. So you have the panels, the workshops, the talks, the chats, the pitching contests, the agent one-to-ones. And yeah, it just makes it more sort of vibrant and more sort of varied, I guess, than some other online offerings out there. So,
oh, without a doubt, it absolutely does. It's got something for everyone. Even like you say, accessing it after the fact, because the amount of people on like the Sunday night, they were saying, "Oh, I can't believe I've missed it," and it's like, "Oh, don't worry, sign up for it now, and you can live it all over again." Essentially, hopefully, it goes from there. So anyway, from moving on from the conference to in motion just now. So the Children's Novel Award, we're at the long list stage. How are we getting on with that? Is reading getting carried out? Is it you've read so much you're sick of reading?
Yeah, it's an interesting stage actually, because we've allocated all the long listed novels to the readers, the various readers, and they're at the stage now where they're debating and discussing and trying to sort of back their winning horse, if you like, to make sure it gets to the next stage.
It's like Cheltenham, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a nice stage actually, because the heavy lifting of the admin side of things has mostly been done now, because we've got so few entries left. So that it's a bit of a relief from our point of view, and now we get to enjoy it a bit more in the next few weeks. What one change actually we've got this year is that we're going to have an award ceremony. In the last couple of years, we've just done a blog post with some pre-recorded videos on it. But this year, I think we're going to try and do it live. So we're going to do a Zoom call with the judges and all the shortlisted writers, and we're going to also stream it live via our YouTube channel, so that anyone at all can watch the live ceremony and see the winner crowned in real time, which is quite nice.
That'll be excellent. That'll be really good. I look forward to that. I was seeing you talk about behind the scenes and people backing their who they think is going to win. I did see a comment from Carolyn Ward and Emma Finlayson talking about some of the ones that if they don't win, like the quality is just so high, like any of them would be worthy winners. But if they don't, the people who don't win it, they want them to try and apply for the summer program because they want to work on those manuscripts, which I think that speaks volumes. That's people who are no stranger to working on manuscripts. They've sort of been over the course and seen everything. You think there's still new things every year coming out that is just catching the eye.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something actually that they've been discussing as well in the group, that they hope certain writers who were in the award and whose manuscripts they loved, but maybe they didn't make it to the long list, they've been saying that they hope that those people apply to them for the summer program. So if anyone's listening who entered the novel award and maybe didn't make the list, you are still being backed by some of the readers, and they would have a look at who the mentors are that we've got on offer for the summer program, and definitely apply, because you might not have been successful this time, but someone still seems to like your novel, so it's well worth having a go.
Definitely, especially powerhouses like they two nice ladies. So speaking of, so we should probably just delve right into the summer program. So essentially I'll even let you introduce what it's all about, Stuart, if you want to.
Yep. So the Right Mentor Summer Programme, it's a voluntary programme where a group of experienced mentors offer to give up 4 months of their time over the summer from May to the end of August, and they mentor I usually advise them one writer, but some of them occasionally take on 2 or 3, and they will work with them in their manuscript over the summer to develop it to a presentable state to put it in the agent showcase that we have at the end of the summer. And that's where a group of this year we've got about 30 or so agents signed up to it, and they'll read through all the pitches for the manuscripts and make requests on the ones that look most promising to them. And it's been a really successful program so far. I mean, the real strength of it, I think, is the fact that because it's voluntary, there's no hidden agendas. Everyone's doing it out of pure altruism and pure love of writing and helping each other. And because it's free to enter, lots of people can just throw their hat in the ring to become a mentee, without worrying too much about it. Whereas you pay to enter contests and so on, but this one is absolutely free. So I love the program. I think it's something that, regardless of anything else that Write Mentor ever does, it will be a mainstay of what we do throughout the year. And the dates this year for anyone who's interested are the 15th to 17th of April for applications. So mark that in your diary. And we've got some Twitter chats with the mentors the 3 nights before that, so the 12th to the 14th.
Excellent. No, that's definitely something. So there's a couple of wee changes, was there not, this year about the partial and full?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So yeah, just based on feedback from last year, was that those who were working on the partial manuscripts, 4 months was essentially too long. They'd maybe be finished work with their mentor after a month or so. So in order to make everything even, if you like, we've decided that for novels it's full manuscripts only, and for picture book writers they'll be working on 3 manuscripts throughout the summer because of the reduced length of a picture book, obviously. And so those are the main changes, and we will do something alternative for those with incomplete manuscripts or who only want a partial, and we'll talk about that later, actually, with the Novel and Development Award.
Well, speaking of that, so I mean, this is quite a unique thing. It's something I'm quite excited about myself. So it's a Novel and Development Award. So essentially, incomplete, partially complete novels. I mean, you could start writing one now, and then by the time you get the chance to enter it, you'd be good to go. So, I mean, give us a wee bit about that, because I think that is so broad, because it's one thing in a writing competition with a completed manuscript, but it's another thing. I think everyone's got 2 or 3 stories tucked away in a drawer somewhere that is just waiting for this award to be invented to enter it. So I think you're going to have your hands full with that one, behind the scene reading.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Stuart told me that, I mean, again, it was his idea. He is full of ideas. When he messaged me, I remember capital letters on Twitter, screaming, yes, I wish I could enter this competition. Because I think definitely, as we know as writers, it is just so annoying when you look at all the competitions and they're all finished, polished manuscripts. And I understand that. And I get that, again, now seeing the behind the scenes of judging and reading for a competition, I understand that. But also, it's such a leap of faith with writing, and you feel like, you write a 40,000 to 80,000 words or however long or whatever age group you're writing for, and then no one likes it. And it's so disheartening. And I just think having this competition hopefully will give people motivation, or will, if they opt in for feedback, it will give them something to work with when they go to finish the book. And I just think it's just really nice to encourage writers. And I would have loved to have entered. I wish it was created before I started working for Write Mentor. But anyway, it's such a good idea. I'm very excited about it. So thank you, Stuart, as well, for coming up with that idea.
We've both been talking about it a lot, actually. It's it's just something a bit different. And as Florianne already intimated, when you're at the early stages of a novel, it is such a leap of faith to continue going and working on it for 6 months, a year, sometimes 2 years. And to get feedback at such an early stage ultimately it could tell you that you're going down the wrong road and cause you to start again. But when you're only a few thousand words in, that's not such a bad thing. Whereas, if you are on the right road, that gives you the encouragement and the motivation to go on and get that finished. And our brilliant judge, Christabel McKinley, who is with David Higham agency, she is very keen to look at manuscripts that are still in development and so on, and is very happy with the whole setup of it. So she isn't necessarily looking for something that's complete. She's just looking for something that's a great premise, a great idea, and is happy to judge it on that basis, which is something, as I say, and as Florianne's already said, is quite different to what's usually out there.
Well, I would say that is definitely its main attraction. Think how many books out there sort of not get the soul ripped out of them, but the time you chop away and edit it at it to, I mean, I always think that it's funny how like if you're writing a story for kids, but you're really writing it for the adults that are going to rubber stamp it and say, yes, that's great. Because if you showed a story to a kid, they go, that's wonderful, that's great. Where's my jelly beans? Like, whereas with an adult, you've got to get it nice and pretty for them. And of course, these people see thousands a year. So it's trying to stand out and be different. And it is definitely, I always think stories are a bit like kind of astronauts. Like for every astronaut NASA sends into space, there was 100 other ones that were just as good, but they have the luxury of picking the absolute best, the best of the best of the best. I think that is definitely the way it is with manuscripts. And like you say, I think a lot of people would be disheartened, like even with this, like not necessarily making the long list of the novel award, it would be like, maybe it's not so good. But there you're talking about there's people behind the scenes championing people to then join the mentor program. So, that sort of is, and it is a sort of place I think you can get in your own head sometimes in the writing world. You write your stuff, you show it to someone, or you show it to your partner, and you think, that's wonderful. And then you show it to someone else and they go, what's this? This is Harry Potter in space. What have you done? And you think, I didn't see that before. Oh my, and I suppose that's the kind of double-edged sword of peer feedback. You send it out hoping for something nice, and sometimes you can get a brutally honest answer back, which isn't bad, but I don't think there is enough. There's plenty of videos, but I don't think you can watch enough videos on how to deal with rejection enough to make you feel good when it comes your way, because it doesn't. It always feels like a kick to the stomach, and you think, what am I going to do? Am I wasting my time? How many times have I said that to you about various projects?
And you're like, countless.
Yeah, countless. Yeah, half the people in this award will be me. Just different entries, but it is something, because especially when you talk about Christabel's excited about it, I think it will be because it's cutting through all. When they must get their submissions through, and it's the big lovely letter, and it's someone that's so punctual and it's great, and you think, that's all crap. Get that out of the way. That's a nice shiny CV, right? Everybody does that. Everyone goes, I'm writing to you because I seen on your website you were looking for science fiction. You go, wonderful. They know all that. They like to just get right in. They probably just skip everything, read the first page, and then go straight to the synopsis. And then if it doesn't stand out to them, because they've got hundreds to get through, probably in a day. So it allows them, I suppose, at this early stage, because think how many books started off great, and then because of someone's fear of how it would turn out, they started to alter and change it. But they were probably on the right path. They just needed to be nudged in the correct way. And I suppose that's where Christabel can come in and say, listen, great, just, add some more pirates or get rid of that, like laser guns everywhere.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
Definitely true. Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say, you can get so in your own head as a writer, and definitely you need that input, I think, from other people and that feedback. I mean, again, we mentioned the Write Mentor summer program, and I was a mentee on that, which is how I first found out about Write Mentor, and it just definitely helps. I mean, it helped me massively to get that sort of external feedback, but also industry knowledge and expert feedback, I guess you could say, and it gives you the confidence as well, which hopefully the Novel in Development Award will give people, because it's sometimes just confidence a lot of the time. And just I've said that a lot, like I just want to give up, or why have I done this to myself, why am I a writer, what am I doing? The
daily doubts. I'll go make a cup of tea and see if I feel better, you know.
honestly I just need to shut the laptop down a couple of times a day and just be like, what am I doing? But yeah, I just think confidence is a big problem for lots of writers. I think we all suffer from confidence issues, and I think feedback can help with that, even feedback that might be seen as negative. I do think that would help still with confidence, because then you can work on it and then build up your skills and your knowledge, and then that will hopefully build confidence up at the same time. So I have had my fair share of negative feedback, and it does help eventually, even though it stings a lot initially.
Constructive, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that is it. It's sort of like almost like kind of like harshening yourself to it. I think over time it would kind of get slightly easier, especially maybe if you start having a little bit of success. But no, I don't know. We'll see what happens if I have any success or anything like that. I'll get back to you on that one, I suppose. But, so with the development award, so essentially, it's closing. The closing date is the 16th of May. Just to confirm that, I think something like that.
That's right.
16th of May. The judge is Christabel McKinley, and the award's actually fantastic. I was looking at this earlier, so it's a full year of level 3 Spark mentoring for the winner. Tell us about what that means in layman's terms.
Yeah, so it means you get to work with one of our mentors that we have. You can have a full look at the list on our website, and you get to work with them for 12 months. You can send them 5,000 words of your writing every month, which equates to about 60,000 words over the course of the year, which, you know, for the majority of books would cover the entire book, the entire novel. And I think that with that level of support, there's no doubt that your work, your novel, A, will be, well, complete if you work hard enough, and B, at the level, hopefully, that it will get some interest with some of the agents that you send it out to. So we do think it's a great prize, and, you know, almost better actually than a cash prize, because it's very focused on the thing that you've entered for, you know, I think whoever wins it, we can probably expect them to, within a year or so, to have a completed novel which they're sending out to agents and hopefully having some success with.
Well, that's it. It's almost like a means to an end in a very nice way. Like you enter it, like you say, you enter it because you want help and you want to see if you're going somewhere, and the prize of it is going to be someone sort of not dragging you over the line, but somebody championing you in your corner, constantly emailing you back and forth for that push. Like, I don't think you could have that lull where you stop for a month or two and then you go back to it and, you know, oh, well, I want that kind of thing. If there's someone there, a driving force external to yourself, that'd be excellent. You should do 20 of these awards. You know, there should be top 20. If only. No, I like it, definitely. I really do. So, I mean, I would say that's us sort of covered the vast majority of what we wanted to talk about, unless there's anything you in particular wanted to talk about before we move on to the finale. I feel like, can we call it the finale? I would call it the finale.
Oh, it's our standard
Crescendo.
weekly quiz, isn't it?
Standard weekly quiz, yeah, absolutely.
I think this is the part I've been looking forward to the most. So
the quiz, excellent.
Okay, so I'm a little bit unsure of how we should actually get the answers, because obviously we can't have the two of you shouting out at the same time, or one of you shouting out and then the other copying the answer. You know, so
I know, I'm trying to think how you could do it, because if someone's listening on the podcast, they won't be able to physically see it either. Because I was thinking wee bits of paper, A, B, and C or something. I don't know. Nah, I think we'll probably just have to ask them and see.
We could put our hand up, and whoever puts their hand up first, you could.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Or you could, if you wanted, you could work as a team.
Oh, you could.
You could work as a team, and then see, and then if somebody gets it wrong, you can blame the other person.
Yeah, and then that way you just can discuss your answers.
Yeah.
The tension.
So it wouldn't be a Topical Pursuit podcast episode without some kind of quiz round. And I've got the questions here. Would you like to read out the questions in your clear quiz voice, or do you want me to do it? You haven't seen the questions, have you?
I've not even seen the questions.
Not pre-approved these questions. If you want me to take a question each.
Okay.
I'll take a question each. Right, well, I'll go first.
You go first.
Don't worry, there's no time.
Have you decided he's working together, or are you against each other?
What do you want to do, Stuart? What's better for my employment status? Working together or working against each other? I need to know this now.
I think that there's always more tension if it's a competition. So
Competition
Okey-doke
then.
then. Right.
Competition
Yeah,
then.
go on then.
We'll be watching
Okay,
out then, right? So put your hand
Yeah.
up if you think you know the answer.
Stuart, we might not see your hand because
Yeah, I was going to say it's
Yeah, shoot me. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Now we're
it
talking.
disappears.
Yep. It was weird. Your fingers were missing in the middle there. You looked
Yeah.
as if you're.
Chewbacca was chewing them off.
yeah.
Right, we're ready. So there is no time limit, but however, the time limit will be your hands putting up. So whoever we think went first, we'll say your
Yeah.
name, and that's your opportunity. If you get it wrong, we'll give the other person the opportunity, and we'll be keeping scores. Anyway, keep the scores, Mrs.
I'll
M.
keep scores.
Right. You keep the scores.
I
Excellent.
like shorthand SF.
Yeah. good idea.
Success, failure, right?
Oh no! To be honest, it's going to be. Oh my gosh, my quizzing is bad. But let's go.
To be honest, they're pretty good. They are actually questions that have appeared on the podcast episodes themselves.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, you know. I'm not saying if you'd listened to them all, you'd be sorted, you know. Right, so here we go. Question 1. Ready? Starting in Wellington, New Zealand, if you dug a hole through the centre of the earth, which European country would you end up in? Obviously, it would take you a long time. Stuart's hand
Stuart.
straight up.
Denmark.
Denmark. You sticking with Denmark?
I'm sticking with it.
That is wrong, sir.
Oh
Right.
no!
You have a
Would you like-
chance to save it.
You have a chance, Florianne. Here you go.
I'll go for Germany.
Germany, that's another good guess. So close. The both of them are so close. Are you just banking on Stuart's geography skills there, going maybe out just a wee bit?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, maybe go a bit lower and
Bit
hope for
lower.
the best.
Well, no points for each of you there. So the
was-
answer is Spain.
Oh,
Spain. That was a
Good
tricky
enough.
one, wasn't it?
That
Yeah,
was a
that
bit of a
is
tricky one.
I remember we getting that in the quiz. I was quite unhappy at that question.
I don't actually remember even asking that question. So okay.
There's been that many. Question 2, and this is an easy one.
oh gosh.
What is the best-selling book series of the 21st century?
Stuart.
Stuart?
Is it the Harry Potter ones?
It is indeed the Harry
Yeah.
Potter ones.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was going to go for a bit more of a non-children's fiction one. So
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
fine. It's like 50 Shades of Grey was going to be mine.
What a
Funnily enough,
contrast.
I didn't actually see that. I
Yeah.
didn't see that actually when I was looking
like,
at the
what-
answers.
What does everyone seem to read? Yeah.
So that's 1-0 to Stuart. Here we go. Question 3. You ready? What is the correct term for a question mark immediately followed by an exclamation mark? I can tell by your face, Florianne, you know the answer.
No, I don't think I do. Funny enough.
It's absolutely okay. Neither did we.
I seen this question and I went, oh, we've got to ask this.
Yeah. That's an absolute stumper.
Question marks followed by-
No hands. Stuart frantically googling. No.
Oh,
We've got a hand up.
I was
Stuart.
going to attend. Go on, Stuart.
Is that a questionation mark?
It is
No.
not, although that's a good guess. I mean, it's our only guess in fairness.
Do you have a guess?
I can give a loud question or something like that because you're exclaiming. I don't know.
No, they're both good, but the real terms, do you read that?
It's a interrobang.
Interrobang.
I've never heard of this before. I just thought,
Wow.
right, these guys, like they're writing, they should know. Come on.
Yeah, this
We
is
should know.
embarrassing.
You should
Yeah,
know.
we should definitely know. We should definitely know that. Well, I know it now. So
You
that's
know
the
it.
great thing about quizzes.
Interrobang.
That's okay. The rest of the questions are ridiculous. So that's the hard ones out there, I would say. The rest are safe as houses. So it's a chance. Here we go, Florianne. Chance
Okay.
to get back here.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
beat Stuart. See if you don't know the answer, put your hand up and then think about it whilst you're waiting.
Yeah, that's
Just
Good
pretend
idea.
you're frozen, just like stand really still and then have a think.
Google
right?
another hand, yeah. Here we go. Question 4. What is Scooby-Doo's full name?
Yes, Florianne.
Is it Scooby Dooby Doo? That's the question. Is it his full name?
It's
No.
not. We're looking for a bit more formal than that. Do you have anything, Stuart? You've got young children. Come on, Stuart. You should know this one.
No, I'm sorry, I don't know.
No, it's Scoobert Doo. Scoobert Doo.
Ah. My other guess was like Scobias or something. If you were
Yeah,
going
something.
more formal with his name.
That's quite a good guess.
I know it's a bit
that's
like
good.
Bartholomew with Bart in The Simpsons. It's just like, why do these characters
Really?
need to have a real name?
All right.
Yeah, a full name. Postcodes.
Okay, so
ridiculous. No
so
points.
far we've got 1 point.
No, it's okay. No, the questions
Doing really
were
well.
we weren't sure how hard to make them. But if you listen back to some of our episodes, the first few weeks we were getting like a strong like 4.5.
Yeah.
And the last like 10 episodes we're lucky like 1 point decides it because I think we're inadvertently make the questions harder.
I didn't get one question right the last time.
No, we didn't.
So-
And I got one, I think.
It's fine.
Anyway.
I won't feel
Quit.
too bad then.
Question 5. How many dimples does a British golf ball have? Florianne?
Well, then, I'm just gonna guess.
Closest answer wins with this one.
Dimples is a British cop. See, I'm stalling. 60? 60?
60.
60.
Stuart,
I
you want to
play
go
golf, so I need to
higher or lower?
Yeah, I'm going to go for 128.
128.
So
That's
So
precise.
specific.
That's so
yeah.
interesting. They are not far off what we thought earlier.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, the answer's 330.
What?
330.
Yeah. To be
I know,
honest,
good
I think
guess.
I said 60. Is yours?
Yeah, and I
not?
think I
Yeah.
said 130 earlier, so it just shows you.
Yeah. So that's another point for Stuart because he got closest.
So right, there's plenty of time here. Right, question 6. This question I thought was kind of silly until I figured out the answer, and that's how the question made its way in. So here we are. What is the Italian word for pie? Stuart?
Pastorella?
Ooh.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Florianne?
Is it pizza? Do they use the same?
Yes!
It is pizza.
Yes.
See,
Excellent.
that's a bit cheaty because my one of my family members speaks Italian and French and Spanish.
No,
so
that's
I've got a
absolutely
bit of a
fine. We don't
background in
like-
languages there.
Golf was invented in Scotland. Stuart had a disadvantage in the last question.
Yeah. And I'm also rubbish at maths, so any question with a number, and I'm just like, I have no clues.
Excellent. Here we have now. Game on. Game on.
Oh,
Pass.
Because that was
There
I
we
was
go.
I was laughing away at the question earlier. I thought, what a silly question. I don't get that. Checked the answer. I thought, so basically in America, when you ask for a pizza pie, you're really asking for pie, essentially.
Yeah.
Pizza. Moving on. So this I like this one. What is the collective noun for a group of pandas? What is the collective noun for a group of pandas? Stuart?
Stuart.
I feel like I
Is that a
knew.
crowd?
A crowd of pandas. It is
Nope.
not a crowd. Oh, Florianne?
Is it a tumble or something like something cute? I thought.
It's not.
Oh, but I wish it was.
I know it
I
should
thought
be,
it was
shouldn't
like
it?
a tumble of pandas or something. Oh,
I feel like half a point should be
I
going
feel
there,
like we
no? I
should
think
change
that's-
that.
Yeah, half a point. We're officially
You shouldn't
changing
give
the
me half a point
definition.
for that, 'cause that's
oh,
cute.
amazing.
The answer, believe it or not, is an embarrassment of pandas.
An embarrassment.
An embarrassment, you know?
Who knew?
That's a good way to describe my writing on some days.
You'll use that next time you're writing. Get somebody to proofread it and go, what do you think? Is it good or is it an embarrassment of pandas? What do
Yeah,
you think?
exactly. Yeah.
Be the new term. So that's good. No, that's it. So you're half a point out from tying.
That's purely because we just liked your answer.
This could happen.
Like-
This could
Amazing.
happen. Question 8. What year did Martin McFly travel back in time to? Sure.
Oh, it's too quick.
1955.
It was
Yes.
indeed 1955. Great.
Amazing.
So there could be follow-up questions here. And I think Stuart's hand would go up really fast. That's excellent. Oh, well.
It's actually November the 5th, 1955.
You
I
don't
know
get
that- I know-
bonus points.
Well,
I
look
was
for the
never,
bonus
ever-
point.
I was never going to win that at all.
Stuart's after an extra half point.
I was,
but-
yeah, I was.
I was thinking McFly the band, so I was well off. I was like, what are we talking about?
Well, 5 colours was what she had in her hair, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can't remember.
Here we are. Second last question. Who were the first television couple to be shown in bed together on prime time television? This pure threw me for a loop earlier. Don't overthink it. Who were the first television couple to be shown in bed together on prime time television?
Florianne?
Are they just general celebrities, did you say, or like actual television? Oh, well, I'll go for Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, seeing as they're a celebrity couple, but that's way too modern. So
Yeah, it's so modern.
like
Absolutely.
Really, really
so
modern.
earlier than that.
Yeah. There you go, Stuart. You could save it.
I've no
Same
idea.
as
I know.
Stuart.
I know.
I know that I remember it was not Chris Evans and someone in The Big Breakfast did it, but it's probably before that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. So, who were the first television couple to be shown in bed together on prime time television? It was, of course, Fred and Wilma Flintstone. The Flintstones.
Oh,
I know, totally. Earlier, I was hitting it with all these suggestions.
I said
I said, what
Jack
is it
and
then?
Rita from Coronation Street.
no, I'm
It's
showing
such a-
myself up. My kind of like TV and film knowledge is obviously really bad. really, really.
It's going to have to be some cartoon watching, I think, Florianne. Just
Yeah,
get
gonna
Cartoon
have to.
Network on.
Yeah.
So here's the final question. Now, I think Stuart's got a disadvantage. It's got an advantage here.
Why?
Because his profession.
All
It's not
right.
fair, right? True or false? You can sneeze in your sleep.
Florianne,
Yes. I'm going to say true.
Stuart, do you want to give us an answer? True or
Well,
false?
I
50,
don't know,
50.
so I'll say false. Yeah.
Answer is false.
false.
Oh,
It is
no.
false. So that brings the scores to an embarrassment of pandas. So this is
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. So it was a 4 to Stuart and 1.5 to Florian.
And it was a half like pity point as well. So that's even worse.
It was a half cute point. so
you don't have to pull that down. That was a well-earned half point, without a doubt. You know,
Yeah.
definitely.
Amazing.
So yes, that I would say that does conclude our podcast episode. It has been fantastic having you both on. I think for all the listeners, they've definitely learned a little bit more about yourselves.
And if
Definitely more
nothing
about
else you've learned what a group of pandas is called.
if nothing else, absolutely. If you take away nothing
Yeah.
else, that should be that and how many dimples are on a golf ball. That would be good
Yes.
enough, wouldn't it? Thank you both very much for coming on. Look forward to this going out there. So it will be on the podcast and the YouTube and anywhere else we can dare to show it, I suppose. So thank you both for coming on. We'd love to have you on in future and wishing you all the success for the various levels of the Right Mentor and in particular the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Yeah. And may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.